The story begins with two sisters, Spider and Jessie, tearfully staring at the lifeless body of their mother, Jessie, who has just died from a drug overdose. With all the strength they can muster, the girls carry her body to a nearby shed and hide it inside an old trunk. Jessie, overwhelmed with grief, gives her mother one final kiss and takes her locket as a keepsake. Afterward, Spider insists they must keep their mother's death a secret. If anyone finds out, she warns, they'll be separated and placed in different foster homes. Spider swears she'd rather die than let that happen. Later, while the girls eat breakfast, their mother's phone begins to ring. Spider sees the caller ID. It's someone named Reese, but she chooses not to answer. They head off to school, but Spider notices Jessie is still wearing their mother's locket. Concerned that someone might notice, she urges Jessie to take it off, and Jessie reluctantly agrees. Once at school, Spider reminds her younger sister to keep quiet about everything. Jessie nods in agreement, but Spider, unable to hold the secret in, confides in her best friend, Alexis. Alexis is stunned by the confession and worries that people will start asking questions about Jessie's absence. Spider explains that their mother had barely left the house in recent months, so no one would likely notice. That evening, Jessie is dropped off at home by a friend's grandmother, which angers Spider. She scolds Jessie for accepting the ride, fearing the woman could have come inside and discovered the truth. Later that night, Spider tries to make dinner but realizes their food supplies are running dangerously low. The girls eat whatever scraps they can find in the kitchen. Spider tries to reassure Jessie, reminding her that their monthly welfare payment is due in 6 days. Just then, a car pulls up outside. Spider peeks through the window and realizes it's Reese, her mother's boyfriend. When Reese demands to see Jessie, Spider quickly lies, saying their mom left about an hour ago with another woman. Reese grows irritated and tells her to make sure Jessie calls him. Then he drives off. The encounter leaves both sisters shaken. Jessie fears he'll keep coming back. Later, Spider finds Jessie in the shed, crying beside their mother's body. She sits with her and offers comfort, telling her that Reese is just a drug addict who only cares about his next fix. Once he realizes Jessie isn't coming back, he'll move on to someone else. A few days pass, and the welfare money finally arrives on their mother's card. The girls head to the supermarket and stock up on snacks. Sitting outside, they excitedly dig into the food when Cody, the store's cashier, walks by and snaps a photo of them. Spider, annoyed and suspicious, accuses him of being creepy and tries to delete the photo, only to realize it's an old-school film camera. Cody takes the camera back and walks off, saying his break is over. Back at home, Jessie asks how much money they get each month. Spider explains it's just under $600, meant to support all three of them. The next morning, their mother's phone rings again. Spider ignores it, but a voicemail comes through. It's from a child protection worker named Paula, who says she's coming by to check on Jessie and see how the kids are doing. Panicked, the sisters rush to clean their mother's bedroom, which is in complete disarray. While tidying up, they find a teaching certificate. Spider tells Jessie that their mom used to be a teacher, which Jessie finds hard to believe. Spider decides to tell Paula that their mom is out at a job interview at a bank. Jessie points out that the car is still parked outside. The girls scramble to move it, but Spider doesn't know how to drive. Jessie reminds her how they used to operate the go-kart, and with that memory, Spider manages to drive just far enough to hide the vehicle. Soon, Paula arrives. Spider sticks to the story, saying their mom is at a bank interview, though she can't recall which bank. The girls describe how well their mother takes care of them and how responsible she is. Paula checks the fridge and cabinets, which are now stocked with food. The freshly cleaned bedroom also helps sell the story. Satisfied for now, Paula leaves the house, reminding the girls to have their mother call her as soon as possible. Afterward, Jessie grows anxious, worried that Paula might return for another visit. Spider tries to calm her down, reminding her that they've had plenty of caseworkers over the years, and none of them stuck around for long. Chances are, someone new will show up next time. Elsewhere, we're introduced to a local sheriff named Ben, who's investigating a car crash involving two addicts who were driving under the influence. Tragically, they had two young children in the backseat. Thankfully, both kids survived. That evening, Ben returns home and finds Spider hanging out with Alexis, his daughter. Spider joins the family for dinner and mentions she'll be taking the bus home since her mom is busy. Concerned for her safety, Ben insists on giving her a ride, noting how dark and unsafe the roads are. When they arrive at Spider's house, Ben shares that he and JC were classmates back in school. He asks if he can come inside to say hello, but Spider explains that her mom is feeling anxious about a job interview and doesn't want any visitors. Once inside, Jessie confronts her sister, frustrated that she let the sheriff drive her home while she wasn't even allowed to accept a ride from a friend's grandmother. That night, Spider apologizes for earlier, surprising Jessie, who's never heard her sister say sorry before. Jessie grows quiet and asks how much longer they can keep living like this. The next day, Spider visits the bus station to ask about ticket prices. When the receptionist asks her age, she hesitantly says 15. The woman quickly realizes Spider is trying to run away and warns her that life outside is much tougher for girls like her. She even offers to call someone for help, but Spider bolts out the door without responding. Later, she stops by the supermarket and runs into Cody again. He hands her the photo he took a few days earlier, and it brings a smile to her face. Cody invites her to hang out and take pictures sometime, but Spider immediately declines. That night, Jessie finds the photo and starts teasing her sister, asking if she's been spending time with Cody. Spider admits he invited her to hang out, but she turned him down. She doesn't want anyone getting too close or asking questions. Jessie encourages her to give him a chance and reminds her it's okay to have a little fun sometimes. The following day, Spider finally agrees to Cody's offer. She joins him for a motorcycle ride, and along the way, they stop at a motel where Cody meets a man named Dennis and hands over a set of photographs. Cody and Spider arrive at a quiet forest clearing, where he begins teaching her how to use a camera and frame shots. Spider listens closely, absorbing every detail as she experiments with photography for the first time. Meanwhile, Sheriff Ben stops by Spider's house to check in on JC. He knocks, but no one answers. The door is locked, and JC's car is parked nearby, which raises his suspicions. His eyes drift toward the shed, sensing something off, but before he can investigate, he's called away to handle an urgent situation. Elsewhere, Spider visits Cody's darkroom and studies the photos he's developed. She notices a familiar face, Dennis, and asks about him. Cody explains that Dennis used to deal drugs, but after his wife died from an overdose, the state took his children. Now, he survives by selling moonshine and counterfeit goods. Later, Spider asks Cody to drop her off a few blocks from home, explaining that her mom is strict and doesn't like her being seen with boys. Before they part, Cody lends her a digital camera so she can keep practicing. Spider is caught off guard by the gesture and finds it unexpectedly thoughtful. In the days that follow, the sisters try to maintain a sense of normalcy, finding small moments of joy despite their circumstances. But one afternoon at a diner, Reese shows up unannounced. He's angry that JC hasn't returned his calls. Spider tells him their mother is trying to get clean and wants nothing to do with him. Reese demands repayment of the $300 JC owes, and he wants it by Friday. The pressure mounts. The girls are already struggling to survive, and this new demand pushes them further into desperation. The next day, Spider visits a pawn shop and tries to sell the camera Cody gave her. The owner offers only $50. With no other choice, she leaves behind her mother's locket instead. The shopkeeper agrees to hold it for 2 weeks but warns that reclaiming it will cost double. That night, Spider goes to Reese's trailer with the money. She begs him to take it and leave them alone. Reese accepts the cash but refuses to let her go. He tells her to stay, claiming he'll show her what made her mother lose her mind. Spider panics and tries to leave, but Reese mocks her, saying he doesn't believe JC is clean, and that she must have sent her daughter alone. Terrified, Spider bolts from the trailer as Reese shouts after her, promising he's not finished with her yet. When Spider returns home, she storms into the shed and violently kicks the trunk where their mother's body is hidden. Overcome with emotion, she collapses in tears, shouting at JC's lifeless form. She curses her for leaving them in such a mess and says she hates her for it. The next day, Spider searches online and discovers that in order to legally adopt her sister, she must be at least 18 and financially independent. That night, Jessie asks about their mother's missing locket. Spider calmly tells her not to worry, it'll turn up eventually. Just then, they receive a voicemail from Sheriff Ben, inviting JC and the girls over for dinner. The message immediately sends the sisters into a panic. The following morning, Spider visits Dennis at the motel and asks if he can create a fake ID to make her appear older. Dennis agrees and quotes his price, but Spider admits she doesn't have any money. Seeing how desperate she is, Dennis softens and asks why she needs the ID so urgently. Later, Spider hangs out with Alexis and confides in her. She explains her plan. Once she gets the fake ID, she'll find a job and apply to adopt Jessie. She wants to wait until everything is in place before telling her sister. Alexis listens quietly, heartbroken by the weight Spider is carrying. After the welfare money arrives, Spider returns to the pawn shop hoping to reclaim the camera Cody gave her. But the owner has already sold it. She buys a replacement, and when asked about the locket, she says she can't afford it and walks away. Later, she visits Cody to give him the new camera, but he tells her it wasn't necessary. He invites her to hang out again. Spider hesitates, but after some gentle persistence, she agrees. The two head into the woods, take photos, and share a few peaceful moments together. The next morning, Jessie, who suffers from asthma, reminds Spider that her inhaler is nearly empty. Spider promises to refill it after school, but moments later, a knock at the door sends them into a panic. It's Paula again, the CPS worker, returning to check on JC. She enters through the back door and finds the house empty. Her attention shifts to the shed, and she tries to open it, but it's locked. Inside, the sisters hide silently, hoping she won't break in. Paula warns that if she doesn't hear from JC by the end of the day, she'll contact the sheriff. After she leaves, Jessie, exhausted and emotionally drained, suggests they should just tell CPS the truth. She's tired of living in fear and pretending everything is okay. Spider urges Jessie to stay quiet and immediately rushes off to find Dennis, hoping to get the fake IDs. But Dennis is nowhere to be found. He's in court that day, fighting for custody of his children. That evening, Jessie brings up the missing locket again. This time, Spider admits she sold it. The confession devastates Jessie. Spider tries to justify it, saying their mother never truly cared about the locket, or anything else besides her addiction. Jessie pushes back, insisting that despite her flaws, their mom was loving and not a bad person. But Spider recalls a painful memory, when baby Jessie was left crying alone on the porch, and would have frozen if Spider hadn't rescued her. She also reveals that Jessie's asthma was caused by their mother's drug use during pregnancy, which damaged her lungs. Jessie refuses to accept any of it. She runs outside, sobbing uncontrollably. Soon, she begins to struggle for air. When she reaches for her inhaler, she realizes it's empty. Moments later, Spider finds her collapsed on the ground and panics. She calls 911, but the dispatcher says the ambulance will take time to arrive. Without hesitation, Spider drives her sister to the hospital herself. Doctors begin treating Jessie immediately, but they refuse to share any updates without a parent or legal guardian present. Not long after, Ben arrives, having been contacted by the hospital, and speaks with the medical staff. He then tells Spider that Jessie is stable, and she breaks down in tears. Spider blames herself for forgetting to refill the inhaler. Ben gently reminds her that she's Jessie's sister, not her mother. He then asks where JC is, but Spider doesn't respond. Instead, she pleads with him not to separate her from her sister. After Jessie is discharged, the girls spend the night at Alexis's house. Later, Ben tells his wife that he tried to find JC, but she wasn't home. Even the CPS worker admitted she hadn't been able to reach her for weeks. Ben's wife suggests the girls could stay with them temporarily, but Ben explains it's complicated. There are over 70 children on the placement list, and the odds of both sisters ending up in the same home are slim. The next morning, Ben drives the girls to school. He reassures Spider not to worry and promises to keep searching for their mother. After he leaves, Spider confides in Alexis. She plans to leave today. Alexis gives her some money, and the two share a heartfelt goodbye. Spider hurries to Dennis's place to collect the forged ID, then quickly picks up Jessie from school. Once they're home, she begins packing in a rush, leaving Jessie confused and alarmed. When she asks what's going on, Spider finally explains. They need to disappear before the authorities catch up with them. She reveals she now has an ID that says she's 18, which means they can relocate and start over. But Jessie refuses. She doesn't want to leave her school, her friends, or the only life she knows. She also insists they can't just abandon their mother's body like it never mattered. The disagreement quickly escalates. In a moment of frustration, Spider slaps her sister. Before either of them can process what just happened, they hear a car pull up outside. Spider rushes to lock the door. It's Reese. He forces his way in violently and corners Spider against the wall. He tells her he knows Jessie is dead and that the girls have been collecting her welfare payments. He offers to keep their secret, but only if they pay him $200 every month. Spider, terrified, agrees. Then Reese asks about Jessie. Spider lies and says she's not home, but Reese's demeanor shifts. He makes a disturbing suggestion, revealing his true intentions. Spider tries to escape, but he grabs her. Just then, Jessie bites his ear, and in retaliation, Reese knocks her unconscious. Time passes. Jessie wakes up in Spider's arms. Her sister tells her Reese is gone. Jessie says she doesn't want to run anymore. Tearfully, Spider agrees and apologizes for everything. In the next scene, the police arrive at their home. The sisters have finally decided to tell the truth. Spider asks Ben if what she did was wrong. He gently reassures her. She was only trying to keep her family together, and there's no shame in that. Days later, Jessie's funeral is held. The sisters stand quietly by the coffin and place flowers with trembling hands. Cody shows up to comfort Spider, offering quiet support. Later, Spider holds her mother's locket, which she's managed to retrieve. Inside, she finds a photo of herself and Jessie as babies. As she places the locket around her neck, it becomes clear she's finally made peace with her mother and with everything they've endured. Well, that's it guys, that's the end of the movie. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Please subscribe to my channel, it would mean the world to me. Also, remember to like the video and gently touch on the bell icon to receive a notification whenever I release a new video. I will see you in the next video. Take care and be well.